Hello and welcome to this first lecture of these three case studies on excellence in data analysis and data analytics. So in this particular section, we will give you some good idea of the case studies of excellence in data analytics and data analysis. So in this particular lecture, we will talk about the first case study. So this is the case study about excellence in data analysis and data analytics, right? And the first case study is about Netflix. Netflix personalized recommendation system. Why did they do this and how did they went about and what were the results? That is what we will talk about in this case study. So shall we take a look at this case study? Great. So, all these case studies start with some challenge the company faces. So the challenge here for the Netflix was that they wanted to enhance their user experience. Their user experience uh, needed to be improved, let's say, and also the retention of the customers. So they had issues in user experience and customer retention. And as a business strategy, they figured out that they need to implement a personalized content recommendation system to their customers so that their user experience gets enhanced and they stay with the Netflix itself, right? So that was the challenge and that was the goal. That's what Netflix worked on. So what did they do? So what approach did they follow in in data analysis or data analytics to implement this personalized recommendation system? There could be many approaches, right? And as I'm putting you in front of you, possible approaches need not be right, as I said. Could they have done a cohort analysis? Could they have done a content analysis, a grounded theory analysis, cluster analysis? So what was the right approach for Netflix to follow and what did they do? Let us take a look at that. So Netflix data analysis approach started by with analyzing the user behavior patterns. So they first analyzed in detail the user behaviors in terms of, there are a variety of behaviors. There's ultimately a purchase behavior, there's an engagement behavior, there's churn behavior, there is a seasonal behavior, channel preference, advocacy. So there are multiple ways a customer behaves in relation to choosing and watching Netflix products. So they analyze that. They also viewed their history of viewership, like where did they go, what time did they watch, where did they come from, where did they go, etc. And then also looked at their preferences. What was the on the Netflix page that they were viewing, what were their preferences, and they correlated this to the user behavior pattern. So that was the Netflix data analysis approach that started with analyzing user behavior patterns, viewing histories, and preferences. Then they implemented machine learning algorithms, with techniques like collaborative filtering, in which they figure out if a user B is watching the movie A, B, C, and if the profiles of A and movie A and B has been watched by the user A, would user A also watch movie C, and should they recommend that? So based on this collaborative filtering, they implemented using this collaborative filtering, they implemented machine learning algorithm and also built deep learning models in which the computer system, the machines, themselves learn in an unstructured way to figure out what are the right recommendations that Netflix should be proposing to its customers to retain them, to increase their engagement. Then, once they had these recommendations that the system or the machines throughout proposed, they leverage A/B testing to measure the effectiveness of the communication. So the recommendations that came, there were multiples of recommendations. The top few recommendations they tested either in a A/B test, 1 to 1, or in what is called a multivariate test. In multivariate test, instead of two A and B, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, as many as you want in parallel. And then selected, found out which options of strategy of recommendation was producing better results in terms of their effectiveness. So the machines figured out after analysis what is the right way, and those they tested to figure out what is the right way to recommend to the customers, right? So that's how they found out what recommendations to make. So what were the results of this approach of data analysis and analytics? What happened as a result of this? They found out that 80% of the watched content of the customers came from the recommendations. Only 20% of the watched content came from their own other methods, right? So, what they were recommending after all this analysis, machine learning, deep learning, and A B testing worked extremely well. 80% is a very high figure. So, the recommendation system was working. And as a result of that, they reduced the customer churn by 4%. And that saved billions for Netflix in revenue. And as a result of this, ultimately, they increased customer satisfaction and engagement, which was the goal of the personalized recommendation system. So, what do we do next? So, having had a look at the data analysis and analytics approach of Netflix to implement a personalized recommendation system, we will now take a look at another area of inventory and supply chain optimization and look at what did Amazon do in terms of its approach to data analysis analytics and what results did they get. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture on case studies of excellence in data analysis and analytics. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions, and do download the PDF file to take a look at anything that you need to.